broadcaster Fiona Armstrong, who joins us right now. She's known as Lady McGregor of McGregor, who in 2016 was appointed the Lord Lieutenant of the Dumfries by the Queen, acting as the personal representative of the Crown in the country. Welcome, Lady McGregor. What are your thoughts as we see what we're seeing today of the Queen's body moving through Scotland?
Well, you know, Paul, I'm just watching the film you've got showing here, and there's a lump in my throat because this truly is her final journey through Scotland. Obviously, she's got to get down to London, and that will be on the Tuesday. But she is heading to Edinburgh, and apparently on the way, thousands, hundreds, even hundreds of thousands of people will be turning out to see her on this final journey. And I'm looking at, you mentioned the flowers there, Peter. I'm looking at, I think it's the lion rampant, the flag, the royal flag that is there in the coffin. And of course, the yellow that we can see there is the yellow of the lion, which is the Queen's symbol. So very, very emotional. As you said, I am the Lord Lieutenant for Dumfries, which is in southwest Scotland. So unfortunately, the cortege will not be coming through my part of the country. But of course, we're all watching. You said I was a Lord Lieutenant for this area. There are 100 Lord Lieutenants in the United Kingdom, all appointed by the Queen. And as you rightly said, we are her personal representatives in the area that we live in. And you may wonder what a Lord Lieutenant does. Well, our job is to be the personal representative, to represent the Queen when she cannot come up here and do various things. And obviously the Queen comes up here, has come up here when she can. We do things like giving out honours. We host royal visits. We go to community events, we give talks about the monarchy, we represent the Queen at citizenship ceremonies, all those sort of things that we do. We support the military, the cadets and the reservists, and also the veterans as well. So a very varied job. It's a role, actually, and you're normally appointed when you're aged about 60, and you're expected to stay on till you're 75, so it can be quite a lengthy job.
Can I ask you to give us a sense of the mood in Scotland? We know in Australia she has a long affection with Scotland. She used to say that Balmoral was a place that afforded her, very rare privacy. We know with the Duke of Edinburgh, it was a much-loved place of respite, really. As the cortege goes through these towns on its way to Edinburgh, give us a sense of the mood.
Well, it's a very sad mood here, as you might expect. You rightly say that the Queen loved Balmoral. It was her refuge there on Deeside, up there in the Highlands. There she could escape the crowds. People really didn't bother her on Deeside. They just recognised her as one of the locals that came to stay, and they were very respectful. They kept their distance, and they were also very protective of her. And I understand that I think the coffin set off about an hour ago, and it would have gone through some of the small villages on Deeside that she had a particular affinity with. Local people whose shops she may have served, Balmoral, the palace, and the castle, and sent over provisions or whatever, shops that she herself would have gone in and shopped at, little corner shops. The Queen was a countrywoman at heart, although much of her life was spent with the great and the good and heads of states and in palaces, etc., and state visits. I think she was happiest when she was out there in the countryside with her horses, with her dogs, with the people that she knew, her gillies and her gamekeepers. And she could just walk through the heather and she could be herself and escape. And as you also said, it was a place the Duke of Edinburgh, the late Duke of Edinburgh, was very, very fond of. There he was a very active man. He loved his sport, so he could walk the hills, and the Queen walked the hills with him. He could do his barbecues, and of course they were famous, those barbecues down by the River Dee. So yes, Balmoral, a place of real comfort to her, a place where she could just be herself.
The Lord Lieutenant of the Dumfries is the best business card so far. Thank you so much for the conversation. I do appreciate it, and being able to give us an idea of what's happening in Scotland.